Hi, this is Dan Heisman. We're continuing with our series of instructional videos, and today I'd like to play another game against the computer. I do this occasionally. This gives you insight into how a strong player thinks. I always put up the caveat that even though I challenge the computer to 45-45, we don't want the video to be that long. So my time management is going to be a little bit fast for the time control. Other than that, let's get started, and I'll do a match. Beth O. Here we go. Beth O plays knight f3. All right, I'll offer a Sicilian with c5. He plays c4, English. So we're going to fight for the d4 square here. I could play knight f6 first. Let's play g6. Gives me the option of playing the line. Oh, he's going to play kind of a Botvinnik Sicilian here. All right, so Botvinnik English, but the knight on f3 is a little out of place in a Botvinnik English. Bishop g7, d4. Okay, so he's going to trick me into a Maroczy, or an accelerated dragon. Betho's pretty good at accelerated dragon, so probably I should have played a little bit of a different move order. So what I should do is probably avoid the Maroczy bind and play something inferior on purpose, just to kind of get Betho out of her book here. I could play a move like b6. It's not a very good move, but let's see. Can he play d takes c, queen d5, hitting the pawn and the rook? If I play knight c6 and he plays queen takes c5, I think that's not good. So b6 is not really a move. It drops a pawn to d takes c, b takes c. Now I could ignore him on d takes c. I could play knight c6 and sack a pawn, and then if c takes b, I could play a takes b5 and get some open lines. It's kind of an interesting line. The main line, of course, is to play c takes d4 and transpose back into an accelerated dragon. Well, I guess I owe some revenge to the computer on that. So I might be able to change the move orders a little bit. We'll do it. Pawn takes pawn. Knight takes. Let's play d6 first. As I said, just kind of changing move orders. Knight c3. Okay. I'll play knight c6. Knight bd5. Okay, so he's taking me out of the book already. He's not threatening knight takes d6, so I can just play a6. And he has to play back knight a3. And that's good for me. What else could I do? I don't think there's any reason to wait. a6, knight a3, bishop takes c3, b takes c3, queen a5 is not right. a6, knight a3, queen a5, bishop d2 doesn't look very good. All right, so we'll just play a6 and maybe just knight f6. Okay, let's just continue our development. Knight f6, queen d3. I could play bishop e6, threatening knight e5, winning. Well, I'm not really winning a pawn because he's got to guard it with a knight. Knight e5 then doesn't really do anything. All right, so I should just castle. Castle. Knight back, logical. Okay. If I play bishop e6 and he plays knight d5, and I play knight e5, guess that's all right. If I play bishop e6 and he plays bishop e3 and I play knight e5, he plays queen e2 and I win the pawn. He plays queen d4. What's going on there? Not quite sure. If I play bishop e6, he plays f4 and f5. Is that a problem? I don't think so. If I play bishop e6, he plays knight d4. I play knight takes d4. That's okay. All right, let's play bishop e6. Bishop e6. Rook to b1. All right, so am I winning a pawn with knight to e5? He can play queen to d4. I think it's better to just play rook c8 first. Develop the rook to the semi-open file. Definitely threatening to move my knight. All right, so rook c8. He overprotects the pawn. Okay, so knight e5. If he doesn't play queen d4, I win a pawn. If he plays queen d4, I can move my f knight, threatening to play knight f3 check, winning the queen. Interesting. So knight e5, queen d4. Where could I play? I can play knight d7. And then he moves the queen. And I can play, maybe take on c4. Let's take a look at that again. Knight e5, queen d4, knight f d7, threatening knight f3 check. He can move the king, but he's not going to do that, or if he does, I'm not worried. Where can he put the queen to stop knight f3 check? He can't put it back on d3. He can't put it on d5. If he goes back to d2, I can take on c4. All right, so that's looking pretty good. What else could I play? Knight to b4. Does that do anything? Knight b4. No, I think it's knight e5 is the better line. Let's do that. Knight e5. Plays queen d4 right away. And I'm going to play knight on f to d7, threatening knight f3 check. I'm also threatening knight c4, both ways hitting the queen. He's only got a knight on it and the bishop, so that should be enough. All right, let's do it. Knight f d7. All right, so he counterattacks my pawn on b7. I'd be glad to trade the c pawn for the pawn on b7, but I might not have to do that. If I play queen c7 first, he plays knight d5. So knight takes c4, knight takes c4, bishop takes c4, bishop takes c4, rook takes c4, queen takes b7, bishop takes c3 check. Interesting. I could play knight c5 first, but then he plays knight d5. Knight c4, knight c4, bishop c4. If queen takes b7, I've got a few things I can do. I could also play queen b6 here. Queen b6, queen takes b6, knight takes b6, hits the pawn the fourth time. But then he has time for b3, but then knight takes c4, knight takes c4, bishop takes c3 check. So queen b6, queen takes b6, knight takes b6, knight d5, bishop takes d5, c takes d5. Saves the pawn for him. I have a good game. Queen b6, queen takes b6, knight takes b6, knight c d5. Threatening knight takes e7 check. Bishop takes d5, he has to play c takes d5, and he's okay. All right, so queen c7, knight c d5 is even better for him. Rook c7, knight c d5 is also okay. I think the right thing is to take the pawn. Knight takes c4, knight takes c4 is not forced, but I think he'll do it. Bishop takes c4. Bishop takes c4, rook takes c4. Queen takes b7, holds the e-pawn. But then I have knight c5, queen moves, bishop takes c3, and rook takes e4, or something like that. Knight takes c4. All right, is there another move I could play? Could I play b6, queen takes a6? Knight c5 doesn't look very good. I could play rook b8, but then I'm not threatening the c-pawn anymore. Knight takes c4, knight takes c4, bishop takes c4, bishop takes c4, rook takes c4, queen takes b7. Knight c5. Let's see what else is around here. What else could I do? If I play knight c5, am I threatening to trap the queen with knight c6? It's pretty interesting. I think I am in some lines. So let's take a look at that. Knight c5. I'm threatening knight c6. What could he do? If he plays b4, I play knight c6. He can't play queen b6. If he plays knight a4 to give his queen the b6 square, I can just take it off. Knight c5. He could play knight d5. If I play knight c6, he has queen b6. So knight c5, knight d5, knight to d5, then bishop takes d5, knight takes d5, knight c6, queen b6. All right, at knight c5, I could play bishop takes d5, knight takes d5, e6, knight c5, knight d5, bishop takes d5, knight takes d5, e6, threatening knight c6. If he plays knight b6, I can play maybe knight c6. That looks pretty interesting. All right, let's give it a try. Knight to c5. All right, that's what I thought he'd play. All right, so I could just take the e-pawn, but I'm after bigger fish. Bishop take, but if I play bishop takes and he plays pawn takes, I can't play knight c6. So maybe I should play knight c6 first. Queen to b6, and then play knight takes e4. If he plays queen takes b7, that looks pretty dangerous. Yeah, maybe I have queen a5 check or something. So knight c6. Queen b6. Knight takes e4. Queen takes b7. I have a good game. Just a question of which line is the best line for me. If I play bishop takes d5, he would play e takes. Bishop takes d5, e takes, then knight d3 check, stopping him from castling, winning the bishop pair. That's not bad. Got a lot of good things I can do here. If he takes with a knight, then knight c6, queen b6, queen takes b6, knight takes b6, or maybe queen b6, just knight takes e4. If I play knight check right away, Is there an advantage to doing that? Can I play knight checks followed by queen a5 check? I really don't want him to get his knight into e7. But definitely this is a good position for me. Bishop takes. If he takes with the pawn, I can check with the knights and keep his king in the center. It can't be bad. If he takes with the knight, his e-pawn's still hanging. I could even just play e6. All right, let's play bishop takes d5. Bishop takes d5. Knight takes. All right, so I have a pleasant choice. I can play e6, threatening knight c6. If I play e6, he plays knight b6. I can play knight c6. Looks pretty good. e6. If queen b6, then I take his knight. If knight b6, I play knight c6. He plays knight takes c8. I play knight takes a7. He plays knight takes a7, and his knight is trapped. I can play queen to b8 or something. It's looking pretty bad for him. His queen is in trouble. After e6, knight c6 is a threat. All right, let's see. e6, bishop to g5. Doesn't work. Just queen takes g5. All right, let's play e6. e6. Knight back. All right, so knight c6. Is it bye-bye queen? Certainly looks like it. Knight c6. Queen can't go to b6, can't go to a6, can't go to c5. Can't go to b7. Can't go to a8. Bishop g5 just postpones the inevitable. If he plays bishop g5, I have the pleasant choice of knight takes a7, bishop takes d8, rook takes d8, winning a piece, or queen takes g5, queen to b6, and I have a massive attack. All right, let's do it. Knight c6. There's the bishop g5. Okay, so I have two winning lines. Knight takes a7, bishop takes d8, rook takes d8, winning a piece, going to the endgame, easy win. Or I could play queen takes g5. And after queen b6, I can play something like knight to d4, threatening knight c2 check, and all kinds of terrible things are happening. All right, so queen takes g5. You know, the easier win, of course, is knight takes a7. Queen takes g5. Queen b6. Boy, that looks really good. I could play knight d4. I could play bishop takes c3, followed by knight takes e4. Let's look at that. Queen takes g5, queen b6, bishop takes c3 check, b takes c3, knight takes e4, threatening mate on d2. If he brings the queen back to e3, I can always trade queens. He can't play queen takes b7. If he plays rook d1, I can play knight c3 or all kinds of other stuff. That looks really good. All right, well, let's do the more fun line. Knight takes a7 is the boring line. I'm looking at queen takes g5, queen b6, bishop takes c3, b takes c3, knight takes e4, with pretty much monster attack. All right, let's just do that. Queen takes g5. Queen b6 as expected. All right, I've got all kinds of good moves here. Knight d4 is good. Bishop takes c3 is good. Yeah, let's play bishop takes c3. B takes c3, and now knight takes e4 threatens mate. have other good moves. I can play knight to a4, threatening knight takes c3. I can play knight e5. Alright, let's just play knight takes e4. Rook d1. Okay, fun. I can play knight takes c3. I can play queen f6, threatening queen takes c3 check. I can play queen e5, threatening queen takes c3 check, and the discovery with the knight. That looks pretty good. Queen e5. He can't play queen d4. All right. Queen e5 it is. Queen e5. Rook up. All right, so I have a discovery now. Okay. Do I have any discoveries that attack e3 square? The rook can always go to e3. Knight c5. Rook e3. Queen over. Keeps this queen out of the game. It's not bad. Oh, all kinds of good stuff. I can play knight g3 check, then rook e3. It doesn't look that great. I can play knight takes c3, rook e3, and then play queen to f6 or something. It's not bad. How about knight a5 threatening knight takes c4? Knight a5. If he plays f3, I can play knight takes c4. Yeah, that's not bad either. If he moves the rook to e3, I guess I can play rook takes c4. Just one line. Lots of good things to do here. Knight c5 just holds everything. Then I could bring the other knight around. I think I just want to do that. His position is so bad. Alright, let's play that. Knight to c5. Rook e3 as expected. He's no longer hitting my d-pawn, so my queen's free to attack the queen side. Which square on the queen side do I want to attack? I can attack c2. Doesn't much matter. If I play queen f5, he has bishop d3, but then I have knight takes d3. If I play queen f4, I'm still holding the d-pawn in case I want to move my knight. Really doesn't matter that much. Alright, let's just play queen to f5. Okay, queen to b2. I can play knight a5. I can play knight e5. Knight e5. Then I'm threatening to, well, I can just double my rooks. Everything looks good here. I could develop my rook on f8, rook f to d8, and then play d5 and just blast open the center. If he plays bishop e2 and castles, not too worried about that. D5, c takes d, e takes d, then rook f e8 and trade off the rooks. Not bad. d5, if he hits my knight, I can just take on c4, guarding it with the queen. Everything's winning here. Alright, let's just play d5. Can't hurt. d5. Alright, the rook hits the queen. Alright. I can play queen to e5 check, followed by queen to d6 or something. That looks reasonable. Queen e5 check. Rook e3. Alright, let's just play queen d6. He takes. Alright, opening up the lines for my rook. Thank you very much. Alright, taking with the queen is good, but I think taking with the rook pawn is a little better, so I can play rook fe8. Alright, let's take with the pawn. He plays there. I could trade 2 rooks for queen with rook fe8. Not bad. No, I'm not trading 2 rooks for queen. He's just winning a rook. His queen would have to be in front for that, so that's just a quick analytical mistake. I can play d4. If he takes, I can take back with a knight, threatening his queen. If he pins my queen, I have lots of moves I can play. Yeah, that's not bad. Alright, we'll do that. Let's just play d4. Blast open the center here for my knights. Pawn takes. Take with a knight. Knight takes. Queen there. Okay. I can bring my knight on c5 to e6, threatening rook to c2. If he plays bishop d3, probably don't want him to do that. Maybe I should just pin the rook. Rook fe8, threatening rook takes, pawn takes, and then I could play knight f5 or something if he wants to trade queens. There's lots of good moves here. Alright, let's just do that. Rook fe8. Bishop e2. Okay. We'll just trade everything. We'll just play rook takes rook and knight f5. There's probably better moves. What if I play knight to e4? Knight to e4. If the queen moves off of c1, I can probably check on c1. Knight to e4 threatens knight c2 check, winning the rook. That looks pretty good. If he plays queen d3, I have knight check. Yeah, all right, let's play knight e4. Knight e4. Queen b2. Okay. There's no reason not to win the rook here. Knight c2 check. I could play rook c2 first and then something, but I think knight c2 works pretty well because the rook's guarding a lot of things. Knight c2, there's lots of ways to win. King back. Don't have any queen checks yet. Alright, so we'll take knight takes e3 as check. Pawn takes. Alright, I could trade queens with queen f6. I probably want to just check with the rook. Get my other rook to the 7th. What's a good way to do that? Rook to e6 followed by rook f6. Doesn't look bad. If he ever plays bishop f3, I can play queen d3 check in some lines. Alright, everything wins. Rook e6. King over. Okay. Maybe I should threaten that pawn on e3. Lots of ways to do this. I could always force the trade of queens, of course, not a problem. If I check on the back rank, I've got practically mate. So queen c5 looks pretty good. All right, queen c5, queen d4. All right, if I check on the back rank, he has to play bishop f1 or something. Guess he could play bishop d1. Queen f. If I play queen f5, bishop f3, rook checks, that's pretty good. Queen f5 threatens rook c1 check and queen f2 check. If he plays h3, I can play queen f2 and win the bishop and then mate him. All right, queen f5, h3. So I can check with the bishop first. I could rook checks first. Queen checks, rook checks. Rook checks, bishop in the way, queen checks. Queen f2 check, king h2, queen g3 check, king g1, rook c1 check, bishop d1. Probably should just take the bishop first. All right, well, let's play queen f2 check. King up. Okay. Queen g3 check, king g1, rook c1 check, bishop d1. Rook f6. We'll try that. Queen g3 check, rook checks. All right, queen g3 check. Okay, we'll play rook c1 check, bishop d1. I guess I can just play rook d6. Queen takes e4, rook takes d1 mate. That looks good. All right, let's do that. Rook d6. There's no stalemate. Yep, he takes there. I take with the knight. He plays king f1. I need to guard the e2 square. So let's play queen takes e3. That may not be the fastest mate, but it's got to work. Okay. Let's see. Rook takes bishop is mate. Knight e4 is mate. Queen f3 should be mate. I kind of like queen f3, king g1, rook takes d1 check, king g2. Rook d2 check, king g1 is mate in 4. Knight e4, rook f2, rook takes d1, king g2, queen f2. That's all good. All right, doesn't matter. Knight e4, rook takes d1 check, king g2, queen f2 is mate. All right, so we did the not trade queen method. Now, if you're a lower rated player and you lose games trying for stuff like this, I have a strong suggestion, which is just trade off the queens and win the game easily. I was trying to do the opposite just for the fun of it. You know, I'm a good enough player that, you know, I shouldn't get much trouble doing that. But generally, you want to trade when you're winning. All right, I hope you enjoyed today's game. We'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.